All right. Welcome to the Peckham Pulse Podcast, where we bring you inside the people, purpose, and passion that fuel Peckham Industries. I'm your host, Steve Benton, Corporate Director of Safety and Risk Management. Safety is a core value of Peckham, not just a priority or a set of regulations. Safety is about people, our family, and friends. The Pulse will provide in-depth conversation on what sparks our passions and how we carry that through to strengthen our safety culture. At Peckham, our mission is to safely provide high-quality construction materials and services, but let's be honest, it all starts with you, our members. But nothing, not a ton of asphalt or a mile of freshly paved highway matters more than making sure everyone goes home safe every single day. Welcome, fellas.
Thank you for having us.
Chuck, we'll start with you.
Yes, sir.
So talk to us a little bit about how long you've worked for Peckham.
I've been with Peckham for 28 years.
Joey, how about you?
11 years with Peckham so far.
And Chuck, what do you do for Peckham?
I'm the plant manager at Wingdale Materials.
And Joey?
Underground mine foreman.
What brought you to Peckham Industries?
Well, I'm a third generation operating engineer. Shout out Local 137. I've been working in construction my whole life. I grew up on a bulldozer, excavator, all that stuff. I remember being so short I couldn't reach any of the pedals. They used to have to put blocks on it for me. But, you know, I grew up running equipment. Like I said, third generation, always around the job sites with my grandfather, my dad. And then I had an opportunity when I graduated high school to get into the union, and I jumped at that quickly because it was either that or probably go join the military, and that didn't sound too appealing at the time. So I got into the union. I've started running equipment for a living, and then actually one day an employee at Peckham had to drop off his uniforms during winter maintenance, and I went with him. We stopped in quick, and that's when I met Chuck, and he asked me what I do for a living, and the rest is history.
Cool. Very cool. Chuck, talk to us a little bit about your family life. Children, wife, what do you got going on at home?
Yes, I have two twins that are 16, and my wife and I are early 40s when they were born, and it's been a great experience being older parents.
So you got involved a little bit later in life?
I sure did, yeah.
Wow. Joey?
Yeah, I'm married to my lovely wife, Stephanie, and I have two stepsons, Elias and Noah, and then my son, Cameron, is 2.5 right now, and he's a maniac.
So you guys are both busy at home.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I finally got mine grown up, married, out the door, and you guys are still right in the thick of it. Was there anything on your personal side that has influenced your decisions or your behavior or even your leadership at work?
I can say that when I had my son, it really changed something, the way you look at things. You know, I was always a safety-conscious person, but I think when you have that person depending on you at home, it kind of puts it in a different perspective, is you have to do things a certain way or that person might not have as good a life as they could. You know, you got to really dot your I's and cross your T's to make sure that you get home safe.
That's very true. It's interesting, you know, following 9/11, I used to fly a lot, and I never thought twice about it. And then having kids, you know, every little bump in the air, I was grabbing for the armrests. But
And for me, the gratitude that I have for having marrying my best friend, having children later in life, the friends that I have developed moving into a new area, trying to make a difference at work every day. I owe a lot of gratitude to the Peckham family. I mean, they've given me a great life. I mean, 28 years with Peckham, and you know, I can't pay them back enough for what they've done for me and my family over the years, to be honest.
that's awesome. Yeah, I think Peckham holds a special place for all of us. I'm sure we all have a little bit of a different story, and but I can tell you from mine, this is my third employer and hopefully the last, but it's made a huge difference in my life as well. So, Joy, let's talk a little bit about Peckham Industries now. So you come into work, you're the foreman. Talk to us a little bit about just, you know, what do you do during the course of the day? What things are important to you, and you know, how do you take your passion at work and kind of apply it at the job? And I know it's going to be a little bit different, but
That's a good question. First thing when I get to work is I try and always make sure I'm on the same page with myself. I don't ever want to make sure, or I don't ever want to be in a rush or be thinking about something at home and bring it to work. I know it's easier said than done, but when I first pull in the morning, I always make sure that I'm where I'm supposed to be mentally. And then me and Chuck will always have a quick conversation in the morning and plan out our day, whatnot. And then we go in and do our inspections. And when I'm doing those inspections, I'm thinking about what the day, we have laid out for the day. If, there's some maintenance or we're just solely crushing, I want to make sure everybody has what they need. And I just try and think a step ahead and put myself in the shoes of the loader operator, the plant operator, the ground guy. I've done all of those jobs, so I know the struggles that go along with them. So I always want to make sure that they have what they need for anything that can come up like that. And then just making sure that I'm, I have a lot of energy in the morning, and I know Chuck does too. And sometimes people can get turned off by that first thing in the morning. So I try and make sure that I'm very receiving of people that are coming and, listen to them for a couple of minutes. How was their night? Blah, blah, blah. See what's going on. And then start a game plan and just go out and see how much we can crush for the day.
We produce the material that allows our company to be profitable, right? So this might sound kind of weird, but I look at all the front office help, the IT help, the safety department. Everybody's counting on Wingdale, my small percentage of the business, to be profitable, so everybody reaps the reward of being successful, right? So the revenue's got to start somewhere, and it starts with us in a small percentage of what we do, right?
Yeah.
I'm constantly thinking about, when it's Friday, I'm thinking about Monday already. When it's Saturday, I'm thinking about Monday.
Sunday night, Monday.
When you spend, by choice, the hours that we spend working, especially when you have a night crew we used to have, and trying to make sure stay well planned, and there's times you go to work in the morning. I got a 45-minute ride, and I'm thinking about the first hour, meeting with Joey, see what's on the agenda for the morning before everybody gets there. I've always tried to get to work before everybody else did, just so we could plan.
We're always thinking about the steps needed to do it. Like if we have a crane day, we'll sit down and we'll have a brief discussion on the major picks we have to do, or whether it be rigging or shackles, anything. We're really trying to think of the whole job in a quick 5 minutes, if you would, and anything that could come up that we're thinking of before we have our actual brief. So the questions that might come up, we might already have an answer for it, and then we can go from there. It's about time.
I could sit here and ramble on for an hour on that question, but mainly it's the people that we're trying to support that work for this company that I want to.
Yeah, and it's not just employees. I look at dads and moms and husbands and stuff. It's not just employees. I understand they all have a family. They all have to provide for. So I think that's one of the biggest things, is just making sure we could get through the day with what we need safely.
Yep.
So let's talk about communication for a minute, right? Sounds like Chuck and Joey, you guys are communicating constantly. You're briefing to start the day.
Yep.
Talk to us a little bit about your level of communication, your level of engagement with each individual member on your team. And I can speak to just your passion, your closeness as a team at Wingdale. I've seen it from time and time again. I know you guys take great pride in it. Let's just talk a little bit about what kind of level of engagement do you have? What does communication look like with your teams?
You want me to start with that one?
Go ahead.
I'm a therapist.
Big time.
I have, there's 18, 20 personnel that work where we are, and
each one is a
everybody
different
has a story. Everybody has an issue sometimes, and just to be there and support the men and women that work in Wingdale, whether it's family life or if it's work related. If your ears aren't open, it's hard to connect, right?
Yeah, and you want to respect somebody enough to listen to them if they have something to say. But communication-wise, I feel like we're lucky because me and him are very alike. We're morning people. We have a lot of energy. We're very passionate. So me and him kind of build this ball of that, if you will, at work, and then just just hope that people take a piece of it, and a lot of them do. And it's really cool when you can be passionate about something, and like if your name's on something, say you have to weld something up quick, even if it's a 5-minute job, do it like it's the only job you're ever going to do. That should be, your name is on it. You have a lot of pride, and when you showcase that, other people start to pick up on it and know that, oh, okay, this is, maybe it should only take me 5 minutes to do this, but it doesn't mean that it has to be rushed. You know what I mean? If that makes sense, like take pride in what you're doing, and that's something that we try and communicate. Because if there's pride in what you're doing, then you're going to be doing it safer as well. It's a whole trickle down.
Yeah. Plus, when you're, I'm learning to be a supervisor every day. One of my successful things that I accomplished was having the ability to have foremans and be able to delegate the responsibility off my plate, and to where I could, go to them and this is what's going on. Can you please handle this or handle that? Or so it takes the burden away too. It's helpful.
Yeah.
Not burden. I don't know if that's the proper word, but responsibility.
There's a lot
in a
of
sense.
stuff on your plate, and the more that people can take off of it, the better it is.
Because there's a lot going on. Yeah.
A lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
But let's go back a few years and talk a little bit about the incident at Wingdale. I'd certainly known you guys before that. You guys had a tight crew then, I think.
Yeah.
But let's face it, after that incident, I think things changed. And even after we got beyond the accident, then we had some really neat things happen at Wingdale with some innovation, some plant upgrades and things like that. But let's go back and just talk a little bit about that incident for a minute. And I know it's a tough topic for both you guys because you're so close to it, but also you're so close to the member involved. But
it's the best case result for that situation.
Let's back up a little bit, because prior to that incident, I want to say it was 2019. That's when the whole project, with the shaft that was not under development, but we're going through the planning process at the time, and we went from doing like a bunch of heading rock to mixing with stopes, and then I think it was 21 where it was strictly. I think we did 18 underground stope shots. We did new headings that year, and
we did a few headings, but not.
And the stress level of production, distance. Do you remember, Joe?
I sure do.
It was controlled chaos in a sense, but there was a lot of pressure on us to produce that year and develop stopes as quick as we did, and we were almost at the end. It was December 14th. And we only had a couple weeks to go.
That just goes to show you.
And then that happened.
That's a real eye-opener.
Oof.
When something like that happens. You push that mountain every day, and that day it pushed back. But, he wasn't doing anything he wasn't supposed to be doing. It's a dangerous job, no matter how you look at it and how safe it can be.
And for those that weren't there, let's just define it a little bit, right? So December, what was the date? 22nd?
Oh, 14th.
14th.
Yeah.
And so we're not far from Christmas. And
Nope.
No.
You guys were working underground?
Yeah, it was a regular day crushing. I actually happened to be in the booth that day because somebody was out with Mark was out with COVID.
Oh, right.
And,
During COVID, too. Forgot about that.
Which is gnarly because I think quite often, I wonder if I would have been in that hammer if Mark wasn't.
You might have been.
Yep. But
It's true. I never really thought about that.
So it was a regular day. And then this is where communication can get better. The way I was notified is a Teamster drove up to where he was in radio range and got a hold of me and told me that there was something going on in the back and that an operator was pinned in a piece of equipment. At that point, I didn't know if it was just a rock laying on a door or you have no idea the severity. So then I called Chuck and I went back. I told him what was going on. And just come in and check out what's going on here. And then I went back to the accident, the scene where it was, and that's when I realized it was a lot more than what I thought. And then we all started showing up and doing what we had to do.
Yeah. It's like when you get that phone call, when Joey said, Dave is trapped, I knew it was just by the tone of your voice.
Yeah, but I was still
and you weren't
unsure.
even there yet.
I wasn't even there yet.
Yeah. So
So talk a little bit about what happened, right? I mean,
So Dave was breaking up a piece of oversize. We were digging out of stopes at the time, mainly, and Dave was sent into a stope that was being dug earlier and that had some oversize in it, which is very common, very typical thing. And the operator that was working on that shot went around the corner with the haul trucks and started digging another side of the stope, thank God. And when Dave went in there to break the rock, an actual piece of stone up inside the stope let go off the back and rib him, assuming back rib. And when it came down and hit the pile, a rock off of that rock came down and hit Dave where he was hammering. So it tumbled out to him, rolled out to him. That's why I say Dave was in a safe spot, a spot that was was allowed by MSHA and us and everything, and it just happened, a freak accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I showed up and assessed the situation, I knew right away we weren't able to handle it. So that's when my training came in, and
it's funny how training kicks in like that. You retain some things, but when it starts to hit the fan, it's pretty interesting to see.
But the support that we received from a safety department and management, obviously the first responders and just
everybody,
anyone
who was there,
it was very. They were very, very supportive, and it was it's tough to deal with, but the outcome was good. So
yeah.
And I can just say from being a safety person for several years that without that training, it would have been totally different, right? And because of that
100%.
training, I assume you guys had some level of confidence is the right word, but
Yeah.
you've been through it a number of times.
You have some structure. I feel like you're not going into a blind. You at least know that certain things need to be established and phone calls need to be made. People need to be in certain spots. So at least it gives you an understanding of the game plan, and then you kind of just go with it from there.
Were you involved in the roundtable at Dover?
Yeah.
Fire department. So after this incident, I think it was like a week later, correct? 2 weeks later, maybe.
Yeah, it was shortly.
We
after.
had Arlington, Poughkeepsie, and the Grangeville tech team was involved, and obviously Dover's fire. We had a debrief, I guess you'd say, at their firehouse in Dover. I think Lou was there too, and for the most part, we talked about what was great and maybe what wasn't so great, and we took a lot away from that and actually bettered our training. And
Huge learning experience.
Huge learning
for
experience,
everybody.
yeah.
Whether you're an employee there, if you're a first responder, management, everybody learned something that day. That's for sure.
so all the time and effort that your department puts into our employees, it paid dividends that day.
well spent
Potentially
time.
saved his life.
To be honest with you,
You get there and there's like when I first arrived on scene, the dust didn't even settle yet, so everything was still happening. Rocks were still coming down inside the stope, so we had to make sure that before we even ran in there that we weren't going to put ourselves in danger because, what's another person hurt is not good. And once we established that it wasn't going to get us anything coming off the back, we went in and saw Dave, and that's when your brain starts going, like the operator and you're the mechanic. You're looking at fuel and oil leaking out of the machine. So first thing you start thinking of is shut off the main switch, and you just start looking at the things that you can control. There's a lot of things you can't control, but the things you can control, you better take a hold of them.
Yep, no doubt. But yeah,
So that was my kind of first witness to specifically, Joey, your passion. And I think, Damon had just come on board. It was an interesting time. He was our president for a short period of time. And I remember the next day, right, it was, Bob Uremko, myself, and Jen Harvey, our in-house counsel, and Damon. And, it was almost a little bit of a debrief. I think at that point we knew that Dave was going to be okay.
Yep.
His injuries were not life-threatening by any stretch and really were fairly minor. But we had a little bit of a debriefing, and it was interesting. And I think, in my mind, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that may have been a little bit of a milestone for Wingdale as well. And I thought Damon handled it incredible. I think his comment was, it's like any other family. Sometimes you fight, sometimes you laugh, sometimes you cry, and I think probably all were on display that morning, Joey.
Yeah, and it's you don't know how things are going to affect you until it's
still
done.
affects us today.
Yeah, and that's so out of care. Like the next day, I know what you're talking about. I was losing my mind in there and bringing up things that people have talked to me about, or it was a big get everything out session, if you will, and it just goes to show you that something like that can take you so out of character. To be up there, I was ranting and raving and
Doesn't matter.
I was giving you the business.
I
And,
think it showed you cared, and you know, it was.
yeah, and that's what it boils down to. Is, you know, sometimes people don't know how to express that, if you will. And I think that's what I was doing. Is I cared so much. I was so frustrated at the situation that you just sometimes it doesn't come out the way you want.
We were
it to.
under a lot of stress that year.
Oh yeah.
We worked a lot of hours.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
that's-
you
and
said you had COVID in the middle of that too.
COVID
Exactly,
fought,
so you're
every
dealing with
time you turn
that,
around, you
and-
couldn't touch this person. You had
Yeah.
10 feet away from that person. It's like
Yeah.
that was a
Put a
stressful
mask
time in
on.
our life for everybody, not just Wingdale. But
Yeah, and we were getting close to blowing the hole in the mountain.
yeah,
So
we were in the process.
rock was depleted.
No.
I'm not going to say gone, but boy, you had
Search.
to dig.
But-
dig the corners.
A lot of good came out of that conversation. I tell you what.
Yeah, it was a bet. In my opinion,
Best
it was
scenario.
the best thing that could have happened. Dave's alive to see another day. He's got a cool scar.
Yeah, to have enough water to feed like the whole.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
town of Dover actually.
There's plenty of bottled
Plenty of
water.
bottled
now.
water now.
Plenty of water. Yeah, should have brought some.
Well, let's fast forward a little bit though. So we get beyond that, right? And then we get into we drill the hole, we shoot it, and that changes the whole dynamic of Wingdale.
Changed
Let's talk about
everything.
that for a minute.
Overnight.
Just like the biggest problem we had issue was every time we blasted, we were further away from we were dumping it. So
Right.
to have a plentiful, he always calls it a gumball machine, and all you ladies share our stories for Peckham Weight Tour, but it's basically what it is, right, Joe?
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
you nicknamed it, I didn't, but it is a gumball.
Yeah,
And the
there's some
stone's
gumballs
100 feet
in there.
away, and the feeder's never out of
that was
stone.
the biggest struggle always. Is from the day I came on board underground was having enough stone to crush when you wanted it.
Right.
It's a huge bottleneck. If everybody's heading to the crusher at the same time, haul trucks, loaders, everybody, you don't have to be a genius to figure out that it's going to slow you down a little bit. And then the inconsistencies, you don't know if somebody has to kick a piece oversized out of the way or this or that. So then you're waiting for trucks to come, and there's something, there's always a hiccup. And that really kept us from fully crushing as much as we could. You'd always have to dial it back to wait for stone. So now that the hole is developed, it's the first time that honestly we can not stress about material and focus our energy on other things, because that was always the biggest concern, was having enough rock to crush throughout the day to meet the number we want to.
So for those members just kind of listening, and talk to us about, so what did you do? I mean, obviously you were an underground mine.
Yep.
So all the members were working underground,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah,
And was that part of the decision making?
Yeah, let me back up a little
Yeah.
bit. But if we didn't, as a group in Wingdale, develop the mine and change the face of Wingdale back when I took over in 11, full time, I was plant manager in July of 2012. But if the group in Wingdale did not succeed on making Wingdale what it is, let's not even talk about the raised bore. I mean, when you go from 350,000 tons produced to 800, and almost 900,000, that was
Almost
before
a
the
million.
stope,
Yeah.
or before the raised bore.
With all the
We
same
wouldn't be sitting
equipment.
here right now.
Right. And
You
that's
know?
something we take a lot of pride in, is
I mean,
having people in the right place.
yes,
And
Totally.
really, having people with the same outcome in mind. We always joke around, Wingdale, we want to be the tip of the spear. We want to be the tip of the spear.
Yeah.
And, we want that for all the plants at Peckham. We want everybody to be their best. We just like saying it, tip of the spear.
Yeah.
We joke around with each other. But, we want to be in that, realm of professionalism. What we used to do is we used to drill and blast underground daily, several headings a day. The heading would be, what we're loading and blasting. And then we would truck that material from the rear of the mine all the way up to the crusher, which is also underground, and supplement loaders into stopes to fill in where the trucks were lacking. So basically, we were just running an operation of drilling, blasting, scaling, and hauling all underground to the hopper every day, just Groundhog's Day.
Constant. Shooting every day.
Yep, shooting 4 or 5 headings a day, stopes.
And you guys were shooting yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We had our own powder crew, and we held the explosives on site, went through the ATF, all that, and whatnot.
working 14, 16 hours a day,
Yeah.
or right out the window.
Everyone just took a sigh of relief.
It is
honestly.
a huge
was
sigh of
big
relief.
weight was off everybody's shoulders because we knew the stone was going to be close,
Yes. It's going to be close.
which we fought for years.
Yes, we did.
I mean,
Talk a little bit about the safety side. What inherently came out of that process to improve safety?
Exposure.
The biggest thing, we went from 20 guys, give or take, underground all day and scattered throughout the mine. Keep in mind, and there's some radio communication. Cell phones don't work underground. So you would always have that. You always had that in the back of your mind, hoping everybody was okay. You'd go and check on them and just do your rounds throughout the day. But there was a lot of people exposed, drillers, people loading headings, dealing with explosives, scalers, the whole nine. So everybody was kind of exposed to something. And the fact that when the bore went in, you only have 3 people and myself underground in a contained area, it helps out a lot.
A lot safer to control. Engine inspections are a lot less.
Right. I mean, my morning inspection's a lot less, so I can focus more energy on a smaller area instead of the opposite.
Mainly exposure.
Yeah. Give us a few things to take home from just your experience at Wingdale. Things have gone right, things have gone wrong, things that you would share with other members at Peckham as far as just your experience.
The brotherhood.
Yeah. There's a lot of
We're
camaraderie.
one big family in Wingdale.
Well, when you lay in the mud with somebody and you shovel next to them for hours and hours, and that happens here and there, you start to joke around, you laugh, you bond. That's nobody has a great relationship with it. What do they say, that calm waters don't make good sailors? So
yeah.
And I love the camaraderie, like you're saying. I get along with everybody at work. I mean, you don't have to be best friends with everybody, but as long as you can get through the day and accomplish what you need to.
I think the attitudes at Wingdale are like far from none. I mean,
Well,
we're so grateful to be successul. I mean, we want to continue being successful, but
we have a lot of
we're problem
talented
solvers.
people. Yeah, problem solvers. We're all tinkerers.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I'll give to anybody coming to this company or anything you can take from this is don't be afraid to be passionate. Is what I would say. That sometimes that comes off wrong to some people, but who cares what they think, right? Be passionate. Be the best version you can be, and if your name's on it, it better be good.
Yeah, go to work. Try to, like I say again, try to make a difference every day.
Yeah. Yep.
Whether it's a small thing
Listen,
or a
you
large
got to be
thing.
at work regardless, right?
Yeah.
You got to go to work regardless. Either you could be miserable, or you could have a goal in mind and get people on the same, on the same team as you, and have the same thing in mind, the same goal, and attack it. Is Chucky would say.
That we respect each other. Let's get it done safely.
No, I think it's obvious when you visit Wingdale, and as soon as you walk in the door and see Deb and go past her office into yours, Chuck, I think.
I mean, that's why we love the Peck Away tours. I mean, it gives us a chance to showcase what we've, a lot of sweat equity to get where we are, right?
We've learned a ton.
And
of stuff,
and people think it's cool, which we think it's cool too. But we're there every day. So maybe it's not as cool as somebody just got there for the first time. But
I like to
it's a showcase.
Yeah, and I like when passionate people come in from their plant. I want them to take that back to wherever they're coming from, and we're all on the same team. It's just a different location. That's all.
Exactly.
Well, thanks, guys, for coming in. At Peckham Industries, safety isn't something we talk about when it's convenient. It's who we are and how we show up every day, every shift. Safety is a core value, just like integrity, dedication, and efficiency. So here's our challenge to you. Let your passion for safety lead the way, every shift, every task, every day. Thanks for tuning in to the Peckham Pulse. Stay safe, stay passionate, and be proud knowing that we're building America's infrastructure.